Okay, folks, get ready because we are diving deep into one of the most talked about matches of the season.
Yeah, this one.
The Manchester Derby. We wanted the full breakdown, and we've got it all.
Absolutely.
Articles, expert analysis, and all those juicy fan reactions.
Can't forget those.
Now, this wasn't just any derby. This was a statement win for United. They went into the Etihad.
Tough place to play.
And snatched a 2-1 victory against a City side that, let's be honest, has been looking a bit shaky this season.
Shaky's an understatement. You could feel the pressure right from kickoff. I mean, they've got Haaland, De Bruyne, Rodri.
Yeah, you start naming those names and you think...
A midfield that could unlock Fort Knox.
Unstoppable.
But even they...
couldn't crack United's defensive code.
Nope.
See, and that's what makes this match so fascinating. You'd think City, with their usual possession-based dominance, would walk all over a team.
Right.
Looking to climb the table like United. But that wasn't the case at all, was it?
Not even close. And that's a testament to Ten Hag's tactical influence on this United side.
Ten Hag.
Remember, he came from Ajax,
Right.
a club known for developing young talent and playing attractive, attacking football.
Yeah.
But he's also instilled a real sense of discipline and tactical awareness in this United squad.
Interesting.
Think about Diallo's game-winning interception.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't just luck.
Right.
That was years of...
It was like watching years of careful development explode onto the pitch in a single moment.
Exactly.
Right.
And it speaks volumes about the kind of players Ten Hag wants. Not just flashy skill, but real football intelligence.
That's interesting. So let's rewind to the first half. City's controlling possession. As expected. De Bruyne and Silva.
Those midfield maestros.
They're orchestrating everything right. De Bruyne with his pinpoint passing, threading those through balls that defenses just can't seem to intercept. And Silva the magician,
Right.
pulling the strings, dictating the tempo.
Absolutely.
And United, they're not just sitting back. Amorim has them set up in a tight, compact shape, almost daring City to break them down.
Yeah.
Martinez and De Ligt, those center backs,
Oh, yeah.
they were absolute rocks, shutting down Haaland's runs.
Whoa.
Haaland, the goal-scoring machine, suddenly looked human.
Right.
How do they do that? What was the secret sauce in United's defensive scheme?
It was all about denying space.
Okay.
Think of it like a perfectly synchronized swarm of bees.
Oh,
Every movement calculated, every player covering for each other.
wow.
They specifically targeted Haaland, cutting off his supply lines and forcing him to drop deep to get involved. And the moment he did boom there was Martinez or De Ligt right in his face.
Stifling him. So first half ends 0-0. You could practically cut the tension with a knife.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's waiting for that spark, that moment of brilliance.
Right.
Where would it come from?
And it came, but not from who you might expect.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Set the scene for us.
Yeah.
What happened in the second half?
Well, City came out with a renewed sense of urgency, almost a desperation to break the deadlock. You could see Guardiola had lit a fire under them during halftime. They started playing with more intensity, more directness.
And did that tactical shift pay off?
Well, for a while it seemed like it would. Remember those midfield maestros I mentioned, De Bruyne and Silva?
Yeah.
They started to really pull the strings, creating chances. And finally, in the 60th minute,
Okay.
it happened.
Tell me.
Silva, with his incredible vision and spatial awareness, finds a tiny pocket of space just outside the box. Grealish, with a burst of speed down the left flank, delivers a perfectly weighted cross. And Silva, with that deft touch he's known for, slots it past De Gea.
Goal.
The Etihad erupts.
Classic City. Right. It seemed like they'd finally found their rhythm, that their dominance was about to take over.
You would have thought so.
Yeah.
But here's where the story takes another turn. Amorim, he's not just watching his team crumble. He makes a couple of bold substitutions, bringing on Amad Diallo and Bruno Fernandes. And remember, this is with about 30 minutes left to play.
Hold on, Diallo. The same Diallo who's been developing in the youth ranks. Was this a desperate gamble or a stroke of genius?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the time, some fans were questioning the move. Diallo, while showing promise, was still relatively untested at this level. But Amorim clearly saw something. A spark, a potential game changer.
And let's not forget Bruno Fernandes. He's known for his creativity, his ability to unlock defenses with a single pass.
Right.
But he also brings this intensity, this leadership that can lift an entire team.
Exactly. And with those two substitutions, the momentum of the match subtly started to shift.
Interesting.
United, who had been absorbing pressure for much of the second half, suddenly found a new gear. They started pressing higher, winning the ball in midfield, and creating dangerous counterattacks.
So we've got City, a bit rattled, maybe even a little complacent after taking the lead, and United energized by these fresh legs, suddenly believing they can snatch something from this match.
And then in the 84th minute, it happens. A misplaced pass from Laporte, a moment of hesitation, and Diallo, with that youthful exuberance, pounces on it. He intercepts the ball, drives into the box, and wins a penalty.
Oh, wow, the Etihad must have gone silent. Was this their worst nightmare coming true?
It certainly seemed that way. Fernandes steps up to take the penalty. And with Bruno, there's always this element of drama, this almost theatrical intensity.
The guy thrives under pressure.
He absolutely does. And he slots it home with his usual confidence. Tie game.
Incredible. From a goal down with less than 10 minutes to play, United had pulled themselves level. And you have to wonder what was going through the minds of the City players at that moment.
I imagine a mix of disbelief, frustration, and maybe even a hint of panic. They'd dominated the match for large periods. They'd finally taken the lead. And now, through a combination of their own error and United's resilience, they were back to square one.
And we all know how quickly momentum can swing in football, especially in a derby as emotionally charged as this one.
Right. And that's exactly what happened. United, sensing blood in the water, went for the kill. Their attacking trio, Garnacho, Rashford, and Mount, they were relentless. Garnacho, with his blistering pace and trickery, was a constant threat down the left flank. Mount, even with that earlier injury scare, was still finding pockets of space, linking up play and creating chances.
And then there's Rashford. He's been in sensational form this season, leading the line with his speed, his power, and his clinical finishing.
7 goals in the league already. And he wasn't about to stop there. 89th minute, Garnacho again with that electrifying pace bursts down the left, cuts the ball back across the box, and Rashford with that predator's instinct is right there in the perfect position to slam it into the back of the net. 2-1 United.
Wow, what a turn of events. From silence to jubilation for United fans and for City.
Sheer heartbreak. The Etihad falls silent. Guardiola on the sidelines looks like he's seen a ghost.
Talk about a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, this wasn't just a win for United, it was a statement. They outplayed City tactically, they outfought them physically, and they showed incredible mental strength to come back from a goal down and snatch victory in the dying minutes.
Exactly. And for City, it raises some serious questions. Yes, they had moments of brilliance, but their defensive frailties were exposed, their usual swagger was missing, and they seemed to lack that killer instinct when it mattered most.
Speaking of killer instinct, let's delve a bit deeper into those game-changing performances. Diallo, the young prodigy. What do the experts have to say about his impact on the match?
Well, the articles we dug into, they really highlight Diallo's maturity on the pitch. They point out his positioning, his anticipation, that interception for the penalty. That wasn't just being in the right place at the right time.
Right.
It was reading the play, understanding City's passing tendencies.
Like he'd studied their playbook.
Almost as if, And you're right, the articles praise his development under Ten Hag. There's a pattern emerging here, isn't there?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Look at how Sancho has blossomed.
Right.
How Rashford has reached a new level.
It's like
Ten Hag seems to have this knack for cultivating young talent, for bringing out their best.
It's not just about tactics then. It's about nurturing potential.
Yeah.
Building a team for the future.
Right.
And speaking of the future, what about Rashford? Another match, another goal?
Right.
It's almost becoming routine.
Almost, but let's not take it for granted. This consistency, this drive to score, it's what separates good strikers from great ones. He's become a leader on this team, not just through his goals, but through his work ethic. He never stops running, never stops pressing. And that sets the tone for the entire squad.
It's contagious, that kind of energy. And even Mount, who had that injury scare, he battled through, didn't he? He might not have scored, but his contributions were crucial.
Absolutely. He's the engine in that midfield, keeping the ball moving, finding those clever passes that unlock defenses. Even when he's not at 100%, he makes a difference. And you have to admire that tenacity, that willingness to play through pain for the team.
Yeah, it's that kind of grit that wins championships. Now, before we get too carried away praising United, we have to acknowledge City's De Bruyne and Silva. Even in defeat,
right,
they were pulling strings, creating chances.
They're world-class players, there's no doubt about it. But even the best can be overshadowed when the team as a whole isn't functioning at its peak. And that's the puzzle Guardiola has to solve, doesn't he?
Yeah.
How do you get this team back to its dominant best?
Because right now it seems like they're missing that spark, that swagger that made them almost unbeatable in previous seasons.
And it's not just about individual talent. The articles we've read, they point to defensive vulnerabilities, a lack of cohesion, maybe even a bit of complacency. They're not used to being challenged like this, not used to being on the back foot.
It's interesting you mentioned complacency because one stat really jumped out at me. United is now unbeaten at the Etihad for 3 consecutive games. 3 games. Wow. That's a significant shift in the balance of power in Manchester, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And it's not just a blip, it's a trend. This City team is losing more home games this season than they did in the past 2 combined.
Wow.
Something's not clicking. And it's not just bad luck.
So what does this all mean for the title race? Can United maintain this momentum, this newfound confidence? Or will City rediscover their form and claw their way back to the top?
Those are the questions that keep us on the edge of our seats, aren't they?
But here's the thing. This derby wasn't just about 3 points. It was about a shift in the narrative. United showed they're not just contenders. They're a force to be reckoned with. And City, they've been given a wake-up call. The Premier League is no longer their playground.
Right.
They have to fight. They have to adapt, or they risk falling behind.
And that's the beauty of this league, the unpredictability, the constant ebb and flow of power. We've given you a deep dive into this match, but as always, there's more to explore. Think about the tactical nuances, the individual performances, the psychological impact of a match like this. And most importantly, think about what it means for the rest of the season. Will this be the turning point for United? Will City rise the challenge? We'll be watching closely. And we'll be back soon with another deep dive into the ever-evolving world of football.